Tonight on Raw, Christian shows up from ECW and loses for no reason. The tag team titles are dropped to The Miz, who gets no reaction, and The Big Show. And Bret Hart saves Raw and shows up out of nowhere. Right here, right now, February 8th, 2010. This is your Raw review from Big Al on the Kick-Ass Wrestling Show.
What you want? What you want?
Christian came out to confront Sheamus out of nowhere. As we all know, Christian was on ECW. He was the ECW champion. And he came out to say to Sheamus, why am I not getting any recognition as a champion? I'm an ECW champion. And, I'm hearing everybody challenge you for the title, Sheamus. And I'm hearing people challenge The Undertaker. And they're worried about his title. But what about my title? So they exchange wisecracks and a match is made right then and there. And they have a match. And it was a pretty good match. I don't think Sheamus is that great in the ring, but he's okay. He's passable. He's not that boring. You guys know I'm not a big fan of Sheamus. I don't think he has any charisma. I don't think he can talk very well. He's okay. He's kind of generic, and I think his look is just awful to take seriously. He looks like some type of, medieval warrior type of deal, and I just don't think that flies. But that's besides the point here. So they have a match. Christian comes out of nowhere, ECW, and it looks like, hey, this is a good way to start Raw. We have a champion versus a champion, and that's always good. And then pretty much Christian gets his butt kicked, and Sheamus just, throws him around, kicks him in the face, does his Razor's Edge finisher move to him, and that's it. Pin. It's over. Christian just loses. Even though when Sheamus comes out, he gets booed, but he gets a very light reaction compared to a lot of the other wrestlers. Christian comes out, the crowd is very, they pop hard for Christian. They know who he is, they like him, he's funny, he's interesting. He would make a far better WWE champion, but we don't see that. We get more of Sheamus and we get him with a clean victory. So the match was okay, but the result was just stupid. Stephanie McMahon's writing and her creative team, I feel like they don't know what the hell they're doing. I think the Raws up to this point have been pretty good. I thought they were turning around, but tonight was a disaster. And that's where it began, was with that match. The next thing I want to talk about is the triple threat tag team match, elimination match, between the Big Show and Miz, the Straight Edge Society, Luke Gallows and CM Punk, and DX, of course, Shawn Michaels and Triple H. We all knew the breakup was coming. We all knew the end was coming for DX. And they were probably going to drop the tag titles. I thought they might take the titles to SmackDown and go with Luke Gallows and CM Punk. He had gotten a lot of push and publicity and time lately. I thought they were going to go that route. Awesome segment. They had Jared from Subway there, and CM Punk tried to save him. I guess Jared's too good of a guy to go that route. And he was saved just in time by DX. But Straight Edge Society gets eliminated first, which surprised me, and then none other but The Miz pins HBK. You kind of knew that HBK was going to lose this match because he's been on a terrible, terrible streak lately. So he lost the match. The Miz gets the win. Again, I don't like The Miz, but I guess we'll see where this goes with him. Maybe Big Show can sort of elevate him. Show is clearly over. He's been over since, he was the Giant in WCW. So maybe this will give him a little rub and give him, the tag titles. I guess the U.S. title isn't really going to do it for him. I'm not too upset about this, okay? They're breaking up DX. Shawn Michaels kicked Teddy Long in the face and said that he quits after the match. Just walked out. He wanted to be traded to SmackDown and then, kicks Teddy Long straight in the jaw and takes off. With Triple H there, basically asking him, is this worth your career? You're throwing it all away. So what's going to happen with Shawn Michaels? Is he going to come back, put his career on the line and go against The Undertaker maybe? Or is he going to come back and go against Triple H? I don't know. We'll see. The next thing on Raw that I really hated that I want to talk about are all these stupid montages from last week. I believe they showed the Batista-Cena thing twice. With the dramatic music, just show the incident. You guys remember, if you've been watching wrestling for a long time, it looked a lot more dramatic when they just said last week, take a look at what happened, and then they just showed you the clip. But now, I guess, we're in the era of production, and these guys have to spice it up, and it just looks silly. The breakup, the boyfriend-girlfriend breakup music, that they play when Cena's getting beat up. It's just stupid. So they keep going back to that. They did that at least twice with that one. They went back and showed, Bret Hart, McMahon from last week a few times. I mean, I understand the whole recap at the beginning of the show, but then I think it's time to move on. And they kept going back to it, and I thought it was stupid. Legacy. I guess they're still together. I don't know the rules in wrestling these days. Before, it used to be you hit somebody in the face who's your partner, you stomp on them, you slam their head into the ground a few times. That was cause for a breakup. But I guess Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase will just take it from Randy. And they're still together, I guess, even though they're having problems. Cody's arguing with Ted and Randy's arguing with them. So Randy had a match with Cody tonight, ladies and gentlemen. What are they doing with Randy Orton? Randy Orton's the best thing in the WWE. He's the best thing in wrestling. Great personality, great in the ring, great look. He's got it all. Okay, the fans like him. The guys like him. The girls like him. We all like Randy for the most part. So he really needs to be the center here of the WWE's whole, master plan. He's not. Which really tells me, again, Stephanie has no freaking idea what she's doing back there. I know that might not be the popular thing to say, or maybe it is, but it's the truth. What are you doing with Randy Orton? You got him in a feud with Cody Rhodes. You got him in a feud messing a little with DiBiase. They break up. Well, they didn't break up. They're going to have a match at Chamber. They might run into each other. Maybe a match at Mania. I don't know. I think it's silly. I think it's stupid. And they really need to put the belt on him. He needs to be a main eventer. Every time Randy Orton is in the ring, it should be the last match of Raw. It should be for a title, or he should be involved in it. And when he's not, I think it really takes down Raw a notch. I realize a lot of you, if you're watching wrestling every year of your life, you've probably seen a lot of Randy Orton. But he is the real deal. And even if you're a little sick of him, or if you're a little sick of Cena, those are the best two young guys that the WWE has. As far as wrestling, mic skills, and entertainment goes, they have to push them. They have to be at the top of the card. They have to have those belts for Raw and the WWE to be taken seriously. Sheamus as your champion is a joke. It's a joke. And if they really are going to take TNA at all seriously, if they ever have a Monday Night War here and go at it weekly, they can't have Sheamus as their champion. It's a joke, it's stupid, it's pathetic, and the experiment needs to end as soon as possible. So get someone like Randy Orton as your World Heavyweight Champion and stop trying to push people down our face when we're not ready to accept them. Sheamus is not going to be over, Mr. McMahon, just because you want him to get over. Sheamus came out of nowhere and cost Randy Orton the match when he interfered, giving Cody Rhodes the victory. I guess Sheamus is still upset that he kept his title at the pay-per-view because Randy Orton hasn't messed with Sheamus ever since. So normally a champion has other business to go about, but for some reason I guess Sheamus was compelled to come and interfere and go after Randy Orton. That made no sense, okay? And yes, they're wrestling each other in an Elimination Chamber match coming up on pay-per-view, but why didn't he come out then, Sheamus come out, to confront Triple H, to attack Triple H? Why isn't he coming out to attack Kofi Kingston when he's talking to Santino backstage? That's fine, but Sheamus needs to be attacking everyone, all right? So it really doesn't make any sense. He got out of his match with Orton with the title. Orton was laid out. He laid him out at the pay-per-view, and now he's still obsessed with Orton? Makes no sense. It's dumb. Hall of Fame induction. The $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, will be inducted into the Hall of Fame this year. The first thing I had to say was, why wasn't he in already? I mean, I guess that's, being picky here, but it's 2010, and Ted DiBiase was probably the greatest heel of all time, if not him, Ric Flair. So how he wasn't in the Hall, I don't understand, but then again, we all know, this is Vince McMahon's Hall of Fame. This isn't a wrestling Hall of Fame. You have to be good friends with Vince. You have to, Vince has to like you, or you're not going to get any credit. You're not, you're going to have a DVD put out about you, about how terrible you are. And if you love Vince and you kiss his ass enough, you're going to have an awesome DVD, and it's going to make you look like a hero, and of course you're going to get inducted into the Hall. So it's not really a Wrestling Hall of Fame, but either way, congratulations to Ted DiBiase on getting that nod, because he does deserve it. And if it was a real Wrestling Hall of Fame, he would be first ballot in, as soon as he was eligible. The end of the show was saved, ladies and gentlemen, when Bret Hart showed up out of nowhere to attack Vince McMahon. I thought that segment was great because right afterwards, Bret Hart was going crazy. He was hitting people. He was tossing people over the top rope. He grabbed some equipment. It looked like a speaker, and he tried to pull it over, pull the wires out. Sparks flying everywhere, and this speaker almost falls over right on top of Bret Hart. I mean, right on top of him. I'm going to give tonight's Raw a D. This Raw was pretty poor. I didn't like it. That show sucked. Thank you for joining me on the Raw review. I'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.